Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and this is from the Depths Designer. We're in the new bridge location on the Epic ship, and we're going to have a look around a few things in this episode. Now there is actually one episode missing because basically it all went to pot on recording, so I didn't redo it, and it was all about some of the medium range weapons. So I'll show you what I did. It wasn't that interesting as it's a lot of things that we'd done previously, although there is some cool bits which we'll show, which is to do with all that metal, all that wooden bits, and but it took me so long, it was mostly time lapse, and I'm not going to redo those videos for the moment. So we'll start with have a look at a little review of our close-in weapon systems. So anyway, this is the bridge as it is at the moment. And we've got some entrance ways through here. This is the engine room, or one of the engine rooms. From the front of here you can go through the doors, and we'll have the gun systems. So this is leading down into the main gun. So we're just sitting behind the main gun, because there's nothing like sitting behind a big gun. Where else have we got? Down here into the side, we go into the sides and we got some of the new missile systems which we'll go through in a second. We have got where else have we got here? This is the breach system for the gun, so we can see all the breach and all the ammo loaders here. We can go through here. We can't go down fully at the moment. I'll have to sort something out there. Right, down here we actually have a second engine room and the rotor room. This is the main lift propulsion at the moment for the vessel. It's it's given us lift. We actually are flying. It's not very stable because I haven't. I need to balance it. Once we're at a more complete build, I can balance all the weights and the blocks, etc., to get it a little bit more balanced. So let's go and have a look at the ship. So what have we got? So this is the side of the ship with those wooden parts sorted out. Now what we have the missile systems, which are all hidden, and the gun systems down below. But I've created these big arms on the side here, with cannons in one, and lots of missiles and rams in the second one. And at the top we have a shed load of laser guided missiles. Shed loads of them. There is shields as well, but we haven't turned those shields on. The rear, forget about it for the moment, because that's where we're working on next. So let's go and have a look and review of all of this system effectively in operation. So going around the front, there we have. So yes, we'll go to the we'll get to those. So this is the medium range missile system, with the little strakes in here so that they'll fire out. What I've added is a little pop-up anti-missile system. So if missiles are detected, this will pop up and start firing various anti-missile interceptors out. There is some flares gonna be here at the moment. We haven't actually put the flares. The flare system is actually on the end of this, but we'll look at that in a second. We have also an anti-air missile system. These are all fairly high speed, not too long, 6 blocks, but they are quite high speed, good and very agile. If we look at the spec of one of them, so we've got a double speed variable thruster, 2 fins, target prediction, a proximity fuse, and they've got. I'm going for EMP. I'm going to try and knock ships out with EMP on this. So, and again, this hides and only comes up when the vessels will be in a particular range. Haven't sorted out the ranges yet. These are all manually controlled at this moment, but we will. I will organise them to be automatic based upon the range. So they will open up effectively a couple of seconds before a vehicle is in range for these to start firing. So this would then open up first, this would open up second. As soon as this detects missiles at a very long range, this will open up, etc. Then we've got, these are a section of 3 special high rate of fire close-in defense cannons. So now what's a little special about them is the angles. Now they're nothing special, let's just have a look here. Now, so this one, if I put the menu back on, you can see it's got an elevation of 80, azimuth of 22, but this has been put on its side. So this will actually go 80 degrees this way, but only 22 degrees up. So this one will basically attack anything in the very thin, almost horizontal angle. Horizontal plane. This one has the same, but is put in the normal upward position. So this will fire at anything in the 80 degree up, but only has got a very narrow arc of fire. Then this one is a 45 degree, so it's got 45 degrees. So this is a little bit, can go that way a little bit and up a little bit. So we've got 3 guns with 3 different items, and they're very HE and they're very high rate of fire. So they'll catch anything through the side. Then we have these. So these will move out. As you can see, this is the closed position, and this is the open position. And these will open out when vehicles get in a certain range. Now we've got 2 types. The first, the bottom one, is basically lots of cannons. These are just going to be firing out at a reasonable rate, a whole load of HE and AP at anything effectively in front. They're not turreted. This is forward firing cannons at anything in the range on either side. So that will quite happily dagger to death anything in front of it. Now this little, there is also some flares on the end of it. It's got its own missile detector, flares, and actually some decoys to try and bring any infrared missiles away from the centre of the vehicle. That's the other reason this is all on this end. The other part then is this wing, this side, which is all about Harpoons. Yes, this is filled with Harpoon missiles of various types. Most of them are a fairly short range, should be about okay to about 1,000 meters. So we're going to harpoon them and basically drag them into this section. Once they're close to here or dragged up here, basically they'll get nom-nom by all of these, and also these guns would be able to fire at anything in this particular area. So generally it'll drag them in and just crunch them to death, hopefully. So we've got to test this. Will it work? I don't know. Should be fun. I just like the idea with it. The difference between the closed travel position and then opening up for combat. It's very my influences have been mixed on this vessel. We've got some bits, it's a bit Gundam, Battleship Yamamoto, or you could also say it's a bit Star Trek with the Romulan battleship opening up with all the missile bays and everything on it. So I just like the idea of it anyway. So that's those, and these are just a lot of short range laser guided missiles. So the idea being it's just going to put a whole lot of missile swarm on some unsuspecting, or well, it might be suspecting, but anyway, a target will be hit by all of these missiles, and hopefully we'll see them in action at some point. But what are we gonna look at now? Well, obviously we've got 2 sections left. Propulsion, which I will do separately. Propulsion, I want to try and get the AI to be able to change different heights, but what I want to do is make this a carrier. Going from our sea carrier experience, I do want to try and make this able to hold some ships. Now, I'm not going to make it a spawner like the sea carrier. That was designed just purely for spawning aircraft. Might do some, maybe put some leeches in. That would be interesting to add with its own system. But these are, I want to dock this. This is a modified Fang. It's been modified for in a couple of special ways. One, it is it's got some smoke, so some smoke defenses. It's also a laser designator, so it's a laser designator for like team missiles. So all the missiles that I've got, it can use the designator from this ship to find a target. The other primary part about this is that sorry, I'm just moving out here. Let's just do that in a second. Let's not worry about that for a second. Is a lot of these drives, and the main drives, are actually ion drives. Now, this means that it's reduced the speed a little bit in atmosphere. In atmosphere, it goes around 70 meters a second, which isn't that fast. But this has a cruising altitude of about 850. At which speed it's still doing 55 to 60 meters a second in space. So this is effectively a space interceptor. It will come down into atmosphere and designate targets, but will quite happily go above 500 to roughly about 850, 750, 850 for more cruising before it comes back down again. What I have found, this has been very effective. This actually gives its own defences against missiles, because missiles don't work that well. They do work, but they're a bit sluggish in space. Lasers is still an issue. So when we go up against big lasers, that's potentially going to be a problem. But hopefully any ships would be concentrating on this vessel and not these. So these are designed as a anti-spaceship, space fighter, for want of a better word, and laser designator. So anyway, I want to dock, say, 4 or 6 of these. So where can we put them? Well, we've got this space on the back. There's nothing to say we can't go wider. Now, I don't have to have these fully inside the vessel. What I'm envisioning is this is the flight deck, for want of a better word, and the rear of the ship will be docked in. Now, we've got 2 choices, or well, actually more than 2 choices. We've got a number of choices here. Number 1, we can have them dock and undock out the side, which is one possibility. How much space do we need? We need from 1, 2, 3, 4. We need about, so that's going to be about 8 wide, give or take a little bit. Allow for that there, so 4 either side. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 either side of that, and up and down, if that's the centre. 1, 2, 3, 3 up, and 1, 2, 3 down. So basically, from this here, the size of area, if I just use a wooden block to emphasise it, is the actual sizing of our docking area, for want of a better word, is approximately like that, and the same down just there. That's a little bit higher than that. That's actually, I can't put it on the top of that, unfortunately. So let's see, that's this one here, that's correct. Let's put it here. So that there, and then we need 2 here. There we go. So that sort of cross section give or take. That looks, yeah, that's just an easy way to test. If we do like this, out that way, and then out that way, and then out there, we can see if it would impact on anything. So there we can see that would be okay. There would be fine. They're tight but fine. So yeah, that's sort of our area. So we could have a couple of here facing sideways, or we could have them shoot straight up, so a slightly more vertical launch, which I like the idea of actually, because it does mean if we had a side, it would mean we'd have to have no armour on this side, basically. We could also go out the back. There's nothing to say we can't go rearwards. Means the rear's open. We could just make a big flight deck. So instead of having some specific, what should we say, system, we could have a, yeah, we could have a flight deck, and that way we could say coming out at about, say, this level, slightly flatter, with 4 of these parked on there and I'll release straight away. This would be useful because it means we could then have other vehicles, different size vehicles. We're not limited to our specific size, and we'd still have armor on the side here. And we just cut off, instead of it coming back, we just cut off this rear. Maybe put a bit of a hanger over the top, but have it slightly more open, an open area. I have already docked one other vehicle. If we go through here, this is, where are we? That's our rear rotor and guidance system, and let's find the way, what's the correct way in? Through here. Is it past the engines? Through the rotor room. Oh, it's through the rotor room, below the engine. Okay, this is our docking bay for a sub. I've got a modified DSV sub here, which I have docked in here. So it's quite happily docked in below. You can see the different paint scheme. It has been painted, and it has been set so that only dock will get released if there is a target under the water worth docking. Now it has a few little issues and it does move around a little bit, so we might have to change that, but basically it's got a little targeting system. So if I just dock it, undock it, we should see it go through anyway. So if I just do that, in 5 seconds it should be dropped. So basically if there's a target under the water, and there we go, it will be released and it will go. Now this sub is a specialist. Whoops, it's being pulled back again because there is no targets. The undocking, because there is no enemy targets, it's redocked it. But you get the idea. Now it's set to only vessels. It wouldn't be released over land because the docking, the targeting for this here only works if something is below 5 meters. So it won't just dock it anyway. So that was set to, well, we will just try that again. It's 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds it pulls all the ship in if there is no targets for it. So Hunter got a lot of underwater specialist torpedoes out the front. It's quite fast for a submarine. It's also got a laser designator, so it will be able to laser designate targets for our ships. So there we go. It's off. It's being brought back again. Oh well, that's the way it goes. It doesn't want to be released at the moment, but yep, that goes in and out quite nicely, so to speak. So okay, let me have a think. So we've got these different potential ways of creating this docking system. So we'll just release this so you can see this one go off. There we go. Straight out. Zoom. Hopefully that should just go up. I don't know what mode it's in at the moment. Fang, it's in combat mode. It should be fine. It should eventually turn around and go up again. Did have some problems with these getting a little close to ourselves at one point. which is not good. We'd had one of them ram us. Is this gonna ram us? This is gonna ram us, isn't it? It's getting very close to ramming us. There doesn't seem to be any setting in the air for, you know, setting it for how close it should get to a ship when it's in this sort of mode. But what I'll have to do, bear with me 1 second whilst I just do this. I'll be back in a second. And welcome back. We can see this is the actual ship flying. You can see it is sort of hovering, but not very well at this moment. But as I say, that's something for next time. Just to set the fleet position for the ship, so that it wouldn't try and crash into us, basically, which is a good idea. Tries to crash into us, that would be bad as such. So we definitely got to keep them separated, and we'll sort that one out later. Right. Oops, it's gone into the water, but I'm not worried about that for the moment. Let's get us out the water. As I say, that's all under balancing. I'm going to be adding a whole load of metal and other parts to this shortly, so it wouldn't be good to worry about it too much. Okay, having a thought about this flight deck. Let me... I do like the idea of having these ships shoot out the side. I do like that idea. But at the same time, I don't like the idea of us having all that vulnerability. What I might do is a bit of both. I might have 2 craft on a vertical launch, possibly out the top, straight up, specifically these vessels. We'll sort out, we can put these down here facing upwards. We might be able to just bring them in a little bit for... Whoops, that's the wrong one. And I haven't put my mirror line on. Let's start with the mirror line, Derek. Start with the mirror line. There we go. Right, now I can start cleaning up properly and replace that piece of wood. There we go. And clean up the other side as well. Let's just get this nice and even a little bit to begin with. So we can have that a little bit there, and let's just see where we can put the marker. Okay, that's fine. We can put the actual docking control down here for that unit. That's fine. We can put the docking control here on this wall facing up, so that it pulls it in. Now what we can do is use this type of mark to get a sense of where it's done a dock. So we'll have 2 Fangs here released straight up. Yeah, I like that idea. I do like that. Right, off. It's not wanting to go. So if we put it back on again, you can see I think do that off, you can see it's not releasing. So put that back on again. Let's just give it a little bit higher starting point. Off. You can see it's trying, but it is getting caught up on something. So let's go and have a look. What we can do is try and find out what's it getting caught. Ah, it's twisted itself. So we need to guide it a little bit more through here potentially. You can see how it's all jamming itself up against everything. It's just hooking itself up. So this is the problem with docking ships. When you're trying to do it quite so tightly, but it's fun. We can see that the forward the forward motion of our ship is causing it to have problems and jam up. So choices are, I could reduce the height of this docking point rather than go as high as I am. You can see there, that didn't like that. If I go up to 20, still doesn't like it there. Right, that's effectively above the docking point, and that goes straight out quite nicely. Let's see how close it can be. You can see it's twisting around a bit. No, that's not wanting to work. You can see it's jamming up on various components. Yeah, that got away, but it wasn't nice. And now coming back, you can see that that is jammed up on it quite considerably. And now trying to get out, that would be, I don't know if it's ripping itself apart or it's actually turning the ship. We can see it's actually because it's jammed in there. Okay. All very interesting. Right, so let me just sort this out. I'll be back in a second. Hello and welcome back. And I've cleaned up that area because what that test has shown is that with a largest vehicle, and that's only a 300 block vehicle, but with such a vehicle, it's not accurate enough holding a vessel to be able to launch it in that particular fashion. It's just not going to work. Now we've got two, so that's one of our choices has been taken away from us. So other choices we now have are, let's see, we can go for the side launching off a flat surface is one option. And we could just have a big deck for launching offside. We can go for the rear launch option. So have make this flight deck to the rear and launch out to the rear. So the idea being we put a nice big rubber surface, very similar to the sea carrier, that they can just bounce around out on a little bit and end up flying by bouncing off. That we're not going to restrict them by having them locked into a tight environment. And I think we'll go for something in that vein. Now what I'm thinking of doing, we'll take this process here, so we won't need the one down below, so I should actually take that out. So that's been taken out of there. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're still going to have a bit of an overhang. We're not going to, I think we're going to need some to build up this flight deck level a little bit. What I'm meaning by that is we need to make sure this is armoured, because this will be a weak point for our ship. In other words, the bloody great big hole in the back. And yeah, I should be doing this with a mirror line or something. Let's just get everything to a reasonable position. And what I'm going to do is just basically put a couple of thicknesses of metal onto here. I'll get rid of that pump for the moment. We'll start off with this centre line. So this is going to be our new flight deck. We'll start with having a couple of those ships again. We'll work out the sizing of them so that there's two of them facing backwards, and then we'll see if we can maybe put a second one just behind it. Or in the centre, so if we can get three in there, etc., and just see what we can do, or whether we can do like a multiple launch system out the back, get a few different possibilities for our launch area, and then once we know what size ships we've got, we can build the back to cover it and give it a little bit of defences as such. So we'll start again with that. I'll start with some wood just as a shaping, so that we know it was basically one tall and one wide. So if we wanted to get, if we start from the centre, if we want to get two right near the centre here, let's see, we know it's can't go right to the centre there, then one wide, so that would be coming out there, or and then that would leave room maybe for one in front of it somewhere more here, slightly to the side coming out, or actually put maybe put a row, maybe we can put them in rows, potentially. The other option, if we're having this, is to have them coming out the side still. Split. Now, okay, we're going to go for the rear. I'm also going to armour this whole rear section, and I'll put some a thickness of armour. So I think we're going to come forward a little bit. So say about here. We're going to put this so if anyone shoots through the back, they're just going to have crap loads of blocks to try and get through. We've got no weapons to the rear as well. We might have to sort some sort of defensive system or weapons to the rear. If we start, if we go overfly and we haven't destroyed them, they might start shooting at us. Can't be having that, so we'll have to sort that one out as well. Okay, let's start with... oh, maybe we can get three. What if we had one there, then... yeah, we could get three, I think, in there to launch out. Certainly as a first row as such. So okay, that's looking quite good. First thing we're going to need is a load of rubber on here. So let's put the rubber down, so to speak. Back in a second once I have laid rubber. And welcome back. And I've set out a reef area and some lines where we've got bays 1, 2 and 3. So now we've got to make sure we can actually fit these aircraft in here, which would be a great benefit. There's nothing worse than designing something and then finds it don't fit. So, okay, let's see where we're going to put the docking system. Will have to be here. Now, 1, 2, 3. Let's try putting it at that height. I can sort out these blocks later. Let's see, miscellaneous docking station. Now we're going to start it fairly far out. We'll just see if that is going to work. Once it comes in, where are you? Where are you? Here it comes in. So that's 35. Let's just see how close it can be brought in. Is it going to be touching anything? Let's have a look. No, that's just one above. That's nice. I think that's a little too tight. 12. There we go. That's just one away. That's fine. I'm going to just put it one more. 13, unlucky for some. And then we can have this like here as our blast area. So we'll put that the same here so that it's ready to duplicate this system. Yeah, that'd be nice for it, so we can see there, and that's our blast ready for, although anyone standing just there is going to get blasted. Oh well, let's try. Should we try? Let's see if we can fit another vessel in. And welcome back. And been doing a little bit of testing with various settings in here for the azimuth, elevation, etc., and the ranges. What I found is you can't have that distance range too close or even too far away. If it's too far away, what happens is if the vehicle is in any direction within that range, it will just go straight to this point and totally ignore that you want it to go over there first. The other little change I've had to do is give them a little upward tilt. The reason for that is they weren't taking off straight away. If I just show this one here, if I just go off, he takes off straight. If I just change this one to be 0, I'll change him back in a second, and I'll get in a way so you can see Q. If I turn that off, he goes straight into the water because he gets a little tip at the end of the runway. So we'll put that back to -15. So that just gives him a little upward little joint slant as such. So we can get some speed up. So we just set a little way here. So I've set these up to hopefully, if these vehicles fly quite fast, so they're unlikely. Oh, that one didn't succeed in taking off. They all tend to fly fairly far away, fairly quickly. Hopefully this vessel will actually be higher into the air in normal situations. Just set that value back. There we go. Just make sure everything is set. So I found 95 was a good range. They're unlikely to get within that 95. So if they are close, if we've got anyone close, he's far away, he's close. So and I don't know where the third one is. Let's get some in front. He's coming close. I want to get some in front, some behind, so we can test all of the various angles. And this is what I've been doing for a little bit, just to see how this all works. It's not an exact system, this docking. Maybe it should be just used in the air, you know, well out there, not as tight as I'm doing it. So one in front, one above, one over there. That's a good time to tell them all to dock. Right, test. I just set up a test. So this one, he's coming in. Now hopefully they'll come out to a position over there directly, and then they will be pulled in. They sometimes do catch on this lip a little bit because it's within the 5 degrees of option. So there's one coming in. Oh, he got through okay. That's fine. There's another one. He's going in. That one came straight in. It sort of bypassed that area because he was behind. But they all sort of docked okay. Yeah, that's reasonable, I think. So, what I'll now do... Whoops, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. What I now do is I'll put a little bit of roofing on that. And see how we're going to do about blending this in. Something similar to what we've done at the front, I guess. But let's sort this the rear section out first. Get it adequately armoured. I might not have this very rear one here, or I've got to have it go down because you can see it's coming down. We'll possibly put a roof up to this position. And then the other one, just have this as on the side as a bit of protection, but won't actually put a roof as such on it. We might just have that coming up at an angle. So I'll see what I feel like. So unless we, yeah, I might show some of this, but we'll see how it goes. I'm sure it'll be all very boring to most people because it's just me placing blocks basically. So there's not much really to see. So see you in a little while. And welcome back. Hopefully this looks a reasonable sort of design on the back for our landing pad with our 3 bays. Put some lights for night landing. Smoothed it a bit into the main section. I might need a little bit more work on this section, but generally I'm happy with that. It fits in with the overall rugged style, but it is blended a little bit to go with it. Also fits in with the whole idea for some nice engines at the rear, or in preparation for engines at the rear anyway. Just finishing off a few little bits as I see them that could be done better. So that looks okay, looks reasonable. Not unhappy with that situation. So if we just recall everything, had a few issues with it when vehicles come in and out, so I've had to reduce this back even further and add a little extra in the centre. They did not like trying to land and take off from an enclosed area at all. You can see how close it is already. Even adding in extra distance just made it more likely, like that one coming in from a weird angle. But as long as they launch once. Whoops, just had a bit of a blip there. Hopefully the audio will come out. When they all launch at the same time, they do tend to have a bit of a crash, but luckily they do sort themselves out. When I do this, what I will do is set them so that they launch individually, you know, with a couple of seconds in between each vehicle. That should allow them to come in a little neater than they did just there. Okay, yeah, so with all this weight, might have to do something about this slab side here, but I'm not sure what at the moment. That might become part of the propulsion, potentially. Got a number of things we need to look at in that regard for lifting this body, because it's quite large, quite heavy. How big are we up to now? We're up to 25k. So and we've got to do the engines next. So the next 2 bits we've done. Well, sorry, I've done the engines. Is propulsion. And working it out so that it will. I want this to go at 2 levels. I want this to be able to go under the water as well. So if we get very close, now the only way I can really think to do this successfully at the moment. Oops, I've just taken a block out there by accident. I see a problem with going around in build mode and accidentally pressing a button. The only way I can do it is based upon range to the enemy. So if the enemy, and so all the control, because the control blocks, if we look at a control block, there's not much, and we've got to do it with control blocks. The idea using a There's too many, using a turret that detects the enemy, there's too many variables, there's too many items that need to be changed to do it that way. So I'm simply thinking of having 3 states. One is the enemy is not on the map, in which case it goes to as high as possible to its travel mode. The second option is there is enemy, but they're more than 2,000 meters away, in which case it goes into its general combat mode, which would be holding an altitude of around, say, 200 meters, 150, 200 meters, somewhere around that range. So it's close enough, it can do damage. The bottom's protected a little bit, but it's generally going to be in the air for all of its missiles and guns and everything else like that. So around 150, 200 meters, stay around. And then finally is I'm really close to the enemy, in which case go into the water. Enemy is close, therefore we need maximum defences, so go to 50 meters, 75 meters, something like that, under the water. As soon as there's nothing within that, say, 1,000 meters, we go back to so everything is now above, say, 2,000 meters, or whatever the case may be, above 1,000 meters. We go back to the middle ground of 150 meters. Now I've obviously got to work out, I would like to be able to do it just by changing the AI's value, but I'm not sure if it's going to allow me to do that. I'm just using the roll to see how it rolls. Yeah, it doesn't like rolling very much. As such, I thought it was worth a try. Yep, roll is definitely not what we need to be doing for it. We'll have to have a look at the roll elevators and just general flight characteristics. I would like the highest version that this will go to. I would like to make this go into space. I would like it so that it is capable at least of getting up to about 800 meters. And that reminds me, one thing we might have to put in here somewhere is a radar dish. Obviously this is such a big ship, we might as well make it, and if it's going really high, we might as well make it a radar vessel at the same time. Why not? You know, in for a penny, as such. Okay, so as always, leave the comments down below, seeing how it's going, see what you may have seen in combat and that might need to be adjusted next time. Oh, there's a lot of things in this, and we haven't even just a lot of items. If you're doing one of these really big ships, hats off to you, because this has taken a long time. Oh, one other thing I might do separately is I might put some anti-air and AA guns and stuff on the back, on the top here, just as a defense system against anything that might be to the rear of us, including, you know, anti-missile detection system maybe on the top here, firing some missiles at the back specifically, and just a general defensive guns maybe on these platforms pointing backwards, just to get anything from behind, give us some bit of rear defense systems for close-in or flying vehicles. So I must just do that now. Anyway, until, as I said, leave any comments if you've seen any combat or bits that you think, before we get into the big battles, any weaknesses you're seeing of the ship so far. But this is enjoyable, and until next time, have fun.